Hello everyone, thank you for clicking in and scrolling down to this part 2 video of this old tractor we're working on. This case I estimate around a 49-year model. We're still researching a little bit, but I believe from what I've seen there, it's a 49, it's a VAC model. And I ran it enough to get it on the trailer. So next I want to service this, I want to change this oil that's in it. Let's take a look and see what we got here. We're still on the trailer with it, and here's my oil drain pan. Let's see what this oil looks like. This comes out of this thing. I gotta get my one socket's not missing. It's just on the end that I use. I keep in my truck for the load, in case I need a 1 1/16. It is. Let's see here. It's definitely not been changed in a while. But not a lot of metal. That's a good sign. It was a quart low as well, too. And I've got a new filter here. Turns out this is a Wisconsin, a Wisconsin engine. So thank goodness it takes a pretty standard filter. They had that in stock at the local parts store. We'll get this all drained down, and I've added a little bit of oil to it. I know it goes in upside down, so I may lose some oil when I put it back on, but at least it'll be some in the foam of the filter, and we'll take less. Now, by the way, just a little key note about this design of this oil filter. In the center, there should be a metal rod that goes in there with a hole in it, and that's to direct the oil up through the filter and allow it to push back through your foam. And so, you know, if it's missing, then that needs to be, you need to get trying to find a replacement for that. Hopefully the one on the tractor is still there. Somebody hadn't tossed it away, didn't know it was in there. People were quick to do that. They would just take the filter, throw it away, and put a new one on it, not even know that rod existed. Now, we'll get this drained down. It's still dripping a little bit. And then we'll get her filled up. And I'm going to put some STP oil treatment in there just to get this, you know, old thin motor oil slicked up. Because even with this, it's been changed, there's still old oil in it, and I'll thin it down. And STP really helps this old oil. I'm sorry. The STP is good for this new oil on old engines. A new oil doesn't have any zinc in it at all. And so these older engines kind of, you know, operate a little better with the hone in the cylinder, and all that helps lubricate what's left of the rings, and maybe it'll give the oil enough consistency where it doesn't use much. So we'll get that done, and then we'll get it off of the trailer. And it doesn't have brakes. So, but I've got a place I can unload it. We'll see how this goes, guys. Okay, here we go. Well, I kind of found an in-between problem that I just explained. This thing, I've got the piece of what I found. Let me show you real quick. There it is right there. That's what they had stuck in the place. And it started raining a little bit. Let me walk over here and show you, because I've got this. This rain should get out of here, but it's sprinkling, so I wanted to cover it up. But right there is where the oil filter screws on, and that rod would sit down in that right there. So what I'm going to do is, I don't know the exact length of that thing, but I know it's supposed to be a lot. It's supposed to be a lot longer than that. So I figure that if let me see here. I figure if I make that thing probably about like that right there. I'm bottomed out. I don't want to be completely bottomed out, so I think what I'll do is probably just make it where it's something like that, and then that'll get it further up into the filter instead of just being like right here and just circulating in a small amount. Give me more filter area, maybe, hopefully. So and this, what I found, it come to find out, it's 1/4 inch, or I'm sorry, yeah, I believe that's, yeah, it might be 1/4 inch brake line is what I've got here. This is some brass steel confused copper, or a brake line, and it works really well for doing this, so I can get it good and straight. And plus, too, they didn't even really clean the ends of this up very well. I don't know if I can get that in camera, but the ends are just boogered up, and when I took it out, there was a little filter material stuck in the end of that. So imagine that was restricted the flow of the oil in the filter, which it would still pump oil. It just kind of does a bleed off thing to the filter, so it's not like it would stop all the oil going through to the engine. That's a good thing. But we will get that addressed real quick and get that sent down into place, and we'll get the filter on, And then we're going to have to do a battery. The battery's kind of down on it, so we're going to get a battery. Put something in there for a battery. Of course it flies off. Okay, there we go. We can see through the end of it. That's good. Got some dirt on it now. It's not good. We'll use my rag shirt. And it should travel into the filter without any problem there. I think that'll work. Yeah. You know what I may do just to be sure? I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna see if hopefully I got it in the camera, but I'm gonna take my grinder and I'm gonna grind one end of it off so it's not flat. It'll be tapered a little bit, and that way I know if something happens and it tries to bottom out, it can still get oil out. So I don't think we'll bottom out, but we'll just do that for good measure. So, oh, wow, we're in camera there. What we got here is I put a, let's see if I can get this thing there. I put a taper on the end of that where the oil can get through there, and I opened that end of that up real good so you can actually kind of see through there. I made that where it's not closed off because the tool tends to pinch that off. Now it's nice that it's tapered down here on this end right here, but this would go up towards the filter, and that way if it does happen to push up and get bottomed out, then it can still get oil out. So we're going to put that in real quick. Dropping the rod in there. Now we may make a little bit of a mess. Let's see if I can get that. It goes in there a little bit tight, so we may have to do a little bit of work to get that down in there. So let me go ahead and it's close to the right size, but it's a really tight fit. I may take the file to it a little bit and clean it up just enough so it drops down in there all the way. I might be able to get it to go. We'll see. It kind of turns out what I've encountered, it just looks like a corroded hole. It doesn't look like it looks like at some point moisture found its way in there and it's kind of got it boogered up a little bit, because that's got to be what that is. And so I'm just going to take a drill bit and just turn it by hand and clean that like aluminum fuzz off, or whatever you want to call that there. I believe that's what that is, and just clean it up a little bit. And then I'm going to use some brake cleaner and a shop vac. I'll brake cleaner in there and I'll pull a shop vac and I'll try to suck as much as I can out of that with the shop vac. And so we'll do that. I think it'll be okay. We'll try that. So just using these channel locks and turning it by hand, I've gotten it where it actually goes down in there. I can sort of, this is an aluminum housing, and over the years, I think, moisture people don't realize it will draw into oil, even though you've got oil there. So we clean it up really good. Like I said, we're going to do everything we can to clean that out of the area before we run it and everything. So I'm going to take some brake cleaner in my brake cleaner, put my straw inside my can and blow that out really good. I'm going to be careful. I've got a rag underneath to absorb as much of that as I can, because that hole there, but let me see if I can't plug that off with my rag as well. I'll get something and stick in that hole, but the rag to catch as much of that brake cleaner as you can so it doesn't go into your starter. Because it'd probably be okay if you let it sit for a while, but the brake cleaner is really flammable. So you can turn the starter over and kick a spark in there and cause a heck of a mess. I'll get another grease rag and we'll soak that out. Let's see here. Yeah, now that drops right down in there perfectly. It goes right down in there. Okay, good. All right, good. Finish this up here. So that looks a lot better. I haven't cleaned out the little hole for the oil pressure relief valve, like it'll ever build that much oil pressure. And so we've smoothed off our corners really well. So a little bit of oil is probably gonna dump out of my filter because I put some in it, but I'm not really that concerned about it. But let me get both hands so that I can slide it over that rod without cutting into my foam at all, and we'll get that threaded on. Okay, so I haven't done anything to the points or anything. It ran pretty decent getting on the trailer, so I'm turning the fuel on now. I got a battery in it, that seems to be okay. Let's see how well this thing starts up. We're gonna climb up on it though, that way just for safety purposes. We don't want to be beside it. Flip the thing on, checks for neutral. Wow, so thing runs pretty well. I was impressed right there. So got a minor fuel leak on the carburetor, but it's getting dinner time to get home. So we're gonna get it off the trailer and just get it, where I can get everything back home. So we're running green bean today too. So we got to put it, we're about to get some rain. So hopefully I can beat that, but let's get it off the trailer real quick, guys. Small fuel leak, no problem. So that makes part 2 of the Case VAC series tractor. Okay, I didn't run it much because, like I say, I still want to service that transmission and all, but the weathers came in, we're getting some rain and all that, and like I say, it's time to go home and get something to eat. So this is a good start. This is a Sunday, so we're going to just take it easy for the rest of the evening, guys. Thank you so much. And like, please, you know, just like share this stuff out there on your Facebook so we can make this channel grow. I really appreciate it, guys. You have a wonderful day. We'll fix it, team, and I'm out.